Yeah, we had a concept called a deeper concept, and I felt the pocket kind of moving and a lane to kind of get out, so I started moving left, and MG was taking it deep and kind of saw me working the scramble, and so he was able to put his foot in the ground and come back down, and just threw it up for him. He made a great play.
What's he add to your offense if you can start getting more on him?
MG. Man, he adds another explosive playmaker. I think he made some big-time plays today. Both really explosive plays. With the go ball down the sideline and then that last play there to him. But I think he's a guy that we're going to keep trying to get going and keep finding ways to get him the ball because he's done some really good things. And it's always about just trying to spread it around. But he's definitely a very explosive playmaker. And just got to keep finding ways to get to him.
So through 5 games, do you feel like you guys have been explosive enough, or you think you need to get Watson into this mix over the next couple months to be as explosive as you need to be?
Oh man, I think there's definitely still room to make even more bigger plays. I think we've done a good job of hitting some of them, but I think, like you said, you had Christian Watson back to the mix, and I think we can do some real damage. So we're always trying to find ways to create those explosive plays and push the ball down the field and just put that pressure on the defense. But you add another speed guy like Christian, we're going to open this thing up. But I still think there's just more plays we can hit on.
Jordan, adding to that, you guys are average today 7 yards a play, and I'm using the term only loosely, but only 27 points. Are those big plays what's missing from piling up, 34, 40, those bigger numbers?
Yeah, I think that, and I think just finding ways to score. I think we did a great job of moving the ball, the whole game, and I think we just got to keep finding ways to score when we cross, the 40, 30-yard line. So I think we'll look at it and find out what's missing there. But I think, continue to hit more explosive plays, we'll do that. But I think just, if we're going to keep moving the ball the way we're doing and putting these long drives together, we just got to find ways to come up with touchdowns instead of field goals or, having the interception early in the game. But just got to find ways to score touchdowns.
This is the first game you had your starting 5 offensive line start and finish the game all year. Is that something you felt more comfortable with, and can that help you guys get more explosive on offense too?
Definitely. I think that's the name of the game, is trying to stay healthy and get your best players out there. So, having those guys out there, I felt very comfortable. I felt good with whoever we had in there, but, having those guys, you can feel the difference. So, that's going to be a big key is going forward, is trying to find ways to stay healthy and, get our body back throughout the week because, bye week's gone. So, we're in it for the long haul now. So just got to keep finding ways to do that.
Jordan, what was the message, what was the discussion after the interception on the first drive? What were you guys talking about on the sideline?
Yeah, just keep going. Next play mentality, next drive mentality. Obviously, it's a bad mistake right there. We're in field goal range and, throwing an interception on the first drive. So it's tough. It's something that you never want to have happen, but it's how do you respond. And I think defense went out there and did a great job of, getting us the ball back. But, it's just about moving on and responding. I think we did a good job of driving the ball down the field, but it just comes down to being smart.
What did you see on that play, and what do you have to think in the moment to decide whether the risk is worth it or not?
Yeah, that's a tough part, but, I kind of broke free, was trying to break a tackle, and, I saw Rome coming across the field with, the DB on his back, and, I said, let's go, let's try and make this tough throw, and I missed it behind. So obviously it's one of those areas where you just got to, understand the situation. We're in field goal range, we have points, so, if it feels like it's going to be a tight throw or, I'm not very confident in it, just throw it away, live to fight another day. But, tried to make it happen, didn't work, and it came back to bite us on that play right there. So just got to learn from it.
Jordan, was that Matt's message after that play too to you, or did he not say that?
Say what? Sorry.
That we're in field goal range, or there's points there.
Oh no, definitely. That was a message from the coaches. Just be smart right there. We're in field goal range. Obviously, anytime you have a turnover in, when you're in scoring position on a third down, like just be smart right there. It's the first drive of the game. Would love to get those points. So just something you gotta, obviously they're gonna tell me that when I come to the side, but just gotta file it away in the back of your mind and learn and grow from it.
You said in the offseason you wanted to use your legs more. You already have 5 more rushing yards than you did all of last year. How much of a weapon do you think that is already, and how much more can you do with it after you saw what you could do today?
Yeah, and I think always, quarterbacks using their legs and trying to extend plays when the routes are covered or things just break down in the pocket is huge. puts that extra layer of pressure on the defense. And I think that's something that I had to focus on coming in the season, was trying to use my legs more and extend some of these plays. And obviously, last year was dealing with some things, so I wasn't moving around as much. So it's definitely been a big emphasis for me, and I think it's been huge to be able to extend some of these plays, especially on 3rd and short. So I just got to keep trying to find ways to do that, but I think it's been great.
Has it been something you've been working on during the week, or is it something you saw on the defense giving to you today while you were scrambling when you had to?
Yeah, no, I think, like I said, it was just something that I had that focus coming into the season, looking at, what we did last year. And, I think there were some opportunities where I could have just extended the plays and made some plays with my legs. So it's definitely been a focus coming into, OTA's training camp, where if it's not there, trying to find ways to use my legs.
What happened on the Musgrave overshot?
Yeah, just missed him. Just missed him.
Nothing unusual happened there, the rusher, nothing?
No, I just missed him high. Yeah, bad throw.
We talked. I think we talked about it this week. How do you get better at putting teams away? Like, obviously you put them away here tonight, but it was 10-0 in the first half, and you're kind of having your way with them, but it was still a game.
Yeah, no, that's something that we got to find ways to keep capitalizing on. Like you said, it's up 10-0. We got to find ways to put teams away early and not give it. Not even make it a close game at the end. So it's something we got to keep improving on. But I think that just comes down to playing complementary ball in all 3 phases. Offense going down there, putting up points, and defense getting stops. So, we just got to keep finding ways to do that. But at the end of the day, you got to find ways to answer the call, whatever happens. It's NFL. I've seen so many games where you're up and teams find ways to come back and make it a close game. So as an offense, we should have that mindset of, we just got to go answer the call every time we go to the field and find ways to score touchdowns instead of field goals or come away with no points.
It's still relatively early in the season. Do you have any sense on how good this team is or could be yet?
Yeah, no, I think we have a really good team. I think it just comes down to being our best every time we touch that field. And executing every play. I think we've seen what we can do against some good teams, and we've seen what we do when we don't play our best. So it just comes down to playing your best on Sunday, or you'll get beat. So I know everybody knows in the locker room we got a really good team, but every other team is good as well. So you got to be at your best.
Jordan, on the flip side of Bill's question, it'd be great to beat these guys 48-10 and not have any mistakes. But when you haven't won in a month and you kind of gave away a game in Cleveland, how valuable is it just to get out of here with a win and say, okay, we're back on the right track?
No, it's huge. I think, we talked about our main goal for the week is going 1-0. So that's the ultimate goal, and we did that. So obviously it's one of those things, you go back, we start the week over, learn from the film, find ways to improve on the areas we didn't do as good, and just keep stacking the things we did do a good job of. But I think the ultimate goal is just going 1-0. It's going to be some ugly games. Not every game is going to be pretty. It's not going to be a blowout every time. So you just got to find ways to win these tight ones.
17 points in the second half, Jordan, and kind of moved the ball really at will. What changed? What did you guys do different? Or was it just as simple as we executed here and there?
Yeah, just executing. I think even in the first half, we were moving the ball well. And I think we had, I don't even know, maybe one drive where we went 3 and out. But I think other than that, we were moving the ball on all these drives and just, like I said, not finishing with touchdowns. So, coming out second half, it was just sticking with what we were doing. We found a couple plays that were working. We kept sticking with those and just rolling through it. But I think all game it felt like we were moving the ball pretty well. Just had to find ways to score.
Just getting Josh rolling like that, really big second half against Dallas, big game here, kind of really helped the offense as a whole, and that whole thing is running too. Definitely.
I mean, that's what Josh's game is. Obviously, you want him to be going the whole game, but second half, find ways to get him the ball, and you see what he does when he gets it. So, I don't think a lot of people want to tackle him, and when he gets rolling, I think our O-line did a great job just creating some holes in the run game, but he's just a good playmaker when he gets the ball. He's not making the first man bring him down, and just find ways to keep getting extra yards. So, obviously, we'll try and keep getting him the ball early, keep getting this run game going, but he's one of those guys, just hand the ball to and let him go eat.
2 more for Jordan.
Jordan, speaking of Josh, I don't know if you had to carry out a fake or not but the 14-yard touchdown run, I mean, the explosion, what was that like to watch from behind the play if you were able to see it?
Man, it was fun because I just, handed the ball to him and I felt, the hole just open up, like the Red Sea is what we were saying on the sideline. And, he just hit it, went straight downhill. And, like I said, he's a hard person to tackle when he's got a full head of steam and just ran through two guys and carried him to the end zone. So, that's what Josh is all about. But, you look at the end zone view, but that hole just opened up, massive, and he just hit it. So, obviously, a great job by the O-line right there.
Well, I feel a sense of relief right now. We always try to take it one game at a time. And just the bottom line is you got to find a way to win the game. And you see it each and every week around the league. A lot of these games are going down to the wire. You got to give Cincinnati a ton of credit for what they were able to do, specifically offensively the second half. They had opportunity to score on every drive. And so it was pretty remarkable to see a guy like Joe Flacco come in there and operate. And certainly they got some really good players over there. But I was proud of our guys. You always get punched in the face in this league, and our guys kept responding. And that's what we need to be. You have to go through those moments in order to be that. So bottom line, we found a way, and I'm happy, and we'll move on to Arizona now.
How do you, I know you found a way at the end, but it was 10-0 in the halftime, and I'm sure you probably felt the same way too, that maybe you should have had a little bit more command of the game. How do you take a stronger hold of those games, you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. Otherwise, we'd do that, I think when you look at the first half, we had 2 drives where we scored. We had a third drive where we're down there in the red area and we throw a pick. And certainly when you're in scoring position and you come away with nothing, that's tough to deal with. I think one of the things that when you look at the totality of the game, there were a lot of critical situations where they were able to make the play and we didn't, to keep them in the game. But that is life in the National Football League.
What did you make of that interception? I kind of wondered or thought if that maybe Jordan was past the point of throwing an interception like that.
Well, I think he was trying to make a play, and sometimes that happens. So I got to go back and look at it. Once it starts going off schedule like that, yeah, I agree with you, and he probably would too. I don't know. I'm sure you guys asked him about it. I don't know what he said, but outside of that, I thought he played his ass off. That was one of the better games that he's played for us in terms of just being able to use his legs to convert critical third downs. That 3rd and 1 we had, where maybe it was 3rd and 2, we ran a roll pass that got gloved. His ability to maneuver through and find a way to pick up a first down. The 3rd down conversion late in the game when they just sacked us and they got all the momentum. That was a big-time play to hit MG right there. So, yeah, quarterbacks, every play is under a microscope, and certainly we never want to give the ball up, but I thought he played his ass off.
Matt, that big play to Golden you just mentioned, how much of that was kind of improv, in terms of making something happen on the fly?
Yeah, I didn't really see what happened in the pocket. That was kind of the design of the play, is to get MG across the field, but you could feel it go off schedule, and those guys, it was a hell of a throw and catch.
Jordan said that your message after the pick was, hey, we're in field goal range. If we turn it over, we're taking points off the board. Is that the next step, though, for him to go from a good quarterback to he's had a few of those moments through the first 5 games.
Yeah, like I said, none of these guys in this league are perfect, but I think he's playing at a pretty high level.
With Golden having a career day today with 102 yards, receptions, is it your plan to use him more in your offense in the future?
It just is what it is, guys. I know everybody wants us to force feed guys the ball, but that's really not how we've done it around here, and I don't plan on changing that. So, that's the beauty of having a lot of guys that we have a lot of confidence in, that where we have confidence that we can put anybody in the situation and try to have plays off of plays, and a lot of it is dictated off the coverages, however teams are playing us, and the quarterback's role is just to make sure the ball's going in the right place based on what the defense presents, and whoever gets those catches, they get them.
Can you Friday's practice, did McManus kick at all on Friday to the decision to not have him active today and go with Havlicek?
Yeah, so we knew he wasn't, I know he said he wasn't worried about it. I told you I was worried about it. Who was right? I mean, I don't know. I know he went out there today and, you know, he said he could kick. He said he felt something too. So, I mean, it's just, sometimes you got to protect the players from themselves. And this is a long play, a long-term play by us. And I'm sure he could have gone out there and done a great job. But anytime a guy says he feels something, I think you got to, I thought the responsible decision, and I got to give Rich and Goody a lot of credit. I mean, they were the ones that were out there watching them, and, you know, they came to me, and so it was a collective decision right there.
So along those lines, what's going through your head when you run Havlicek out there with 2 minutes to go and you got to make one? I mean, I don't know, you might not even know the guy.
What was going through your head, Bill? It was probably the same thing going through mine. It was just, yeah, you're just holding your breath. And I mean, we all know the issues we've had up front too in those situations. And so that's where my focus was. It was more on just the protection, which I thought our guys, they did an outstanding job. I mean, all game long, I thought the protection was much, much improved. And, you know, those guys, they took it personal. And I know Rich did as well. And but everybody stepped up and did their job.
Was there any thought to going forward on 4th and 2?
No, not in that situation.
Is it typical for you guys to?
I felt like we did the aggressive play, the play before, and it didn't work. Obviously, they brought a zero blitz, and they had a better play call than we did.
Is it typical for you to want to use all of your top offensive linemen in that, or is that a very clear response to the protection issues you've had?
Yeah, I mean, it's a point-producing play, and so it's whatever it takes, especially in those critical moments. I mean, you got to get your best out there.
153 yards rushing for you, Coach, your best rushing performance of the year. What did you think of your offensive line's run blocking schemes from the first 4 games to today?
Well, I thought there's still more out there. Early on, you got to give them credit. I think, you know, I know their coordinator, Al Golden, and then Jay Moser, run game coordinator, and obviously very familiar with him and his ability to have an understanding of what we're probably going to try to do. And I thought they did a really good job of doing some different things that I wouldn't say we weren't prepared for. It's just you're always trying to guess what teams are going to do to you on a week-to-week basis, and they did some things that, quite frankly, I didn't think they were going to do. And but I thought early on we left some yards out there, and that's when we went over there and challenged the offensive line and said, if they're going to play 2 shell and we're getting 2 yards, it's going to be a long day for us. So those guys did a really nice job, I think, responding.
Matt, defense looks dominant at times. 2 weeks in a row in the second half, haven't gotten a stop. Is that not taking the ball away? Is it?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, that would be nice to get a takeaway. I think that if we can do that, and there was opportunities out there, but I thought that was like the difference from really allowing us to put the game out of reach. And you know, credit to them. They did a good job of holding on to the ball and not putting it in harm's way.
When you look at the last 3 games, Cincinnati goes touchdown, field goal, touchdown, missed field goal in their last 4 possessions. Dallas, touchdown, 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 field goal. And Cleveland went field goal, touchdown, field goal. That looks like a pattern where you guys just, on defense, cannot close the deal. Beyond not getting takeaways, what do you think could be going on?
Yeah, I mean, it would be irresponsible for me to make a statement on that right now without going back and watching the film.
In general, do you feel, there's a lot of season left, granted, you probably won't be playing your best football at the end of the season. Do you feel like this team's close to being the team you want it to be?
You know, I think we got to continue to work on trying to get a little bit better each and every day. To say that we're close, who knows? I mean, what is close? So I know that we can play better, certainly. I think the guys know that there's a lot of things that we have to clean up. But the bottom line in this league is you got to find a way to win each and every game. And you do it one day at a time, one game at a time. And if you're focused on anything other than that, you're focused on the wrong stuff.
Have you seen a shift like this? You know, it'd be great to win this game 48-10, but you didn't. But have you seen a shift in that 1-0? I know you think we hate the cliche of 1-0 every week, but have you seen your guys buy into that more after some of the stuff that was going on after you were 2-0? Do you feel like they've taken that message?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I think we got to continue to. I mean, that is personally what I believe, and I think a lot of our guys do the same. I mean, it's a long season. It's a very competitive league. You see it almost, a lot of these games are going down right to the wire. And so you got to find a way. And I think sometimes going through some tough moments and, getting punched in the face and having that no flinch mentality and finding a way makes you better down the stretch, because when you get down the stretch, a lot of those games are like that.
Back to Jason's defense question from a minute ago, though. Is it disconcerting that you guys haven't been able to get a stop, even like one or two big stops in the second half, though?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, absolutely.
Matt, was the
Few more, please.
early indications on Lucas Van Ness problematic, or did you get anything there?
I didn't. I talked to him real quick. I know he's going to get an MRI tomorrow. I know he's sore in his foot, but I don't believe there was anything broken or anything like that. So we'll have a better understanding of what's going on tomorrow.
What was the thinking at right guard?
With
Morgan,
J-Mo?
and Ryan, and back to Morgan to trust maybe.
Yeah. Just, it's going to be a competitive situation from here on out. And that's true with every position. And I know, like, there's some positions that where who's going to be the guy that's playing, but those guys have played a lot of ball. Sean Ryan's played a lot of football for us, and he's been available each and every week. So we have confidence in all those guys to go out there and get the job done.
Were you able to do that because you felt? Do you guys bet on this, or?
We should. We can't.
Were you able to do that with J-Mo, though, because you felt really good by the end of the week about the other three guys that were all on your injury report?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of one of those deals where J-Mo's moved so much throughout his time here. I didn't feel comfortable going into the game with doing musical chairs up front throughout the whole week of practice. I think in order for a guy to go out there and play their best, they got to get the reps of that position. So made a decision, and it was truly up in the air with some of these guys. We didn't know if they're going to be able to go. So it was going to be somebody else in that position, like Kennard at right tackle if need be. And we went with the decision to play J-Mo at right guard.